Anthony, the Johnny Carson tributes continue.
Yes.
We got some audio of Leno doing a very tearful monologue.
He did.
Well, he's a poser. I mean, no one's going to take the place of...
Did you see a little midget get proposed to?
Very nice. Here's Leno last night.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to The Tonight Show. As you all know, this has been a tough 24 hours for those of us that are fans of Johnny Carson.
Why'd you turn that off? I had a line, damn it.
I know, I'm sorry.
Tough 24 hours for Johnny, and I go for Johnny, and nothing's there. You got to leave those turned up.
Why is it a tough 24 hours for Jay Leno?
I know.
It's a great 24 hours for him because everyone's going to be, even more people are going to be tuning in his show to see what he has to say. That's what it comes down to. Why is it tough for him?
It's not.
Johnny Carson probably never talked to him after he left.
It's gold for him because people are going to be tuning in to see what he says.
Yeah, but they said it was tough because he had to cancel his appearance this weekend at the Comedy Works in Albany, and they said that made it tough for Leno because he was a big Carson fan, and he was too distraught to even perform this Friday and Saturday in Albany at the Comedy Works.
How dare you? We're talking about a legend.
No,
You're getting a cheap plug-in for your
518
stupid comedy show.
689-0490. Don't even call it. Who cares about that? It's about Leno.
How dare you?
Don't even call. You are horrid.
I mean, Johnny Carson was a legend, but he didn't want to hang out with any of these people. So how is it tough on them?
He didn't like
Everyone knows that he turned into a recluse after he left the Tonight Show in '92.
Yep.
He didn't like any of it.
And he didn't like Leno.
Right. He wanted Letterman in that
guy.
position.
He was a Letterman guy.
It came out last week that he was still writing jokes for Letterman.
Yeah.
Because he would watch the news every day and go, oh, I got a one-liner, and he would send jokes off to Letterman, and Letterman used some of them.
Right.
Not a lot of them, but every once in a while, one of those jokes that Letterman told was a Carson joke. Came out last week. And now Leno's going to say it's been a tough 24 hours? Carson hated you.
He's ripping me off.
Don't worry, Jimmy's not going to comment because Jimmy will.
No,
be on Leno again soon.
I don't think he hated Leno. To be very honest with you, I think he did want Letterman to replace him because that was his guy.
Honestly, all right, hate's a little strong, but he didn't care. He didn't care about Leno. He didn't care about any of these people.
You're not going to.
He had a small group of friends that he kept in touch with, and the rest of the time he spent it with his wife, and he was on a yacht. He didn't want to be bothered by any of these jamokes.
I don't think he liked the idea of a replacement either. He probably would have liked a whole new show to be put in there instead of the Tonight Show continuing, because then it's that About Schmidt thing, It's the new young kid coming in, dumping all your stuff out in the dumpster in the back.
Dumping all your old jokes into the dumpster.
So, and I'm sure he would watch Letterman and wouldn't sit there and watch Leno on the Tonight Show because you don't want to sit there and watch your own show,
Well, the Late Show, you ever see the film about Leno and Letterman where they kind of indicate that he was squeezed out because of Helen Kushnick, who was Jay's manager at the time, who was relentless and awful, allegedly.
Right.
I mean, everyone who made her head or guts.
Oh, that was huge news back then. What a prick bitch she was.
And Jay wanted to come on his first day and do a tribute to Carson his first day. I mean, because he understands. And then she forbade it, and she was just an awful woman.
Yeah, well, I mean, all these celebrities are coming out of the woodwork, and I don't know. Are they a little bummed that Carson passed? Sure, but they're more excited that they're getting FaceTime all over the country today, Mm-hmm. Ed McMahon? Ed McMahon is enjoying that he's back in the spotlight.
When was the last time you saw Ed?
And he's on every newscast. Jay Leno invited him on last night.
Mm-hmm. Did he come on?
Yeah, he was on. I think we have a little audio of that, too. Cool. But here's Jay Leno. It was a tough 24 hours for Jay.
Very tough. Man.
It wasn't tough for any of these guys. I mean, it's maybe sentimental, sure, bringing back some memories, but it wasn't like they actually lost a friend.
Yeah, he wasn't bedside with Johnny.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to The Tonight Show. As you all know, this has been a tough 24 hours for those of us that are fans of Johnny Carson. I was thinking about what I could say about Johnny Carson, and I kept trying to search for something new that hadn't been said before. And after a couple hours, I realized that was impossible. Maybe that was the greatest thing about Johnny. Imagine getting to the end of your life and there's no compliment you haven't been paid. Johnny had that special quality of grace, charm, and dignity in the public arena. He was an incredibly polite man, and when you were invited into his house, this show, you knew you are an honored guest. Before he became host of the Tonight Show, he was host of a show called Who Do You Trust?, which was the perfect title for a show starring Johnny Carson, because the truth is, we trusted Johnny. We trusted him to make us laugh, to entertain us, to speak for us with what was truly an American voice. Johnny hosted the show for 30 years. Think about that. These days, some NBC shows don't last 30 days. Something, my God. What made Johnny such a unique talent was, for 30 years, he was hip. But he was smart enough not to be so hip that next year he was out of style.
Jay's really nervous, and Jay is sounding like he's narrating a movie.
You know what I was just about to say, yeah. Know what sucks about this? He's reading this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, his writers, I'm sure he didn't just write
this. If it was such a tough 24 hours, I guarantee, you know, and this is where Jim and I disagree, I love Letterman. I think he's great. Mm-hmm. I think Letterman could have easily, I don't know what Letterman did. I think Letterman's in reruns.
I liked his statement, by the way. Letterman's statement I liked.
Yeah, but Letterman would just...
Was it F him?
Letterman would just go out there, and this is the difference between the two, and just talk from his heart. Yeah. Leno's reading something, a prepared statement.
Leno's writers got together, wrote a statement for him.
If you're so talented and you took over for Carson, you should be able to just walk out there and speak from your heart for a couple minutes, not read a statement.
Yeah. No compliment can be paid that wasn't paid. And Johnny grew up in a small town in Nebraska. So he's doing a Johnny-mentary.
Yeah, well, you're right. It's like a narration. I mean, you know, there's no real heartfelt...
Letterman actually said, I liked what Letterman said. I think it was like a prepared statement, but he's like, any one of us that came after him were pretenders. So I thought it was like a great thing to say. Yeah. And I don't remember the rest of the statement, but I liked what he said, although I'm not a fan of his show at all.
Hip. But he was smart enough not to be so hip that next year he was out of style. That was a fine, almost impossible line to walk, and no one did it better than Johnny Carson. Johnny never went out of style. As a comedian, he taught me it was okay to be known for doing political humor, but never make the mistake of thinking you're a political commentator. It's okay to satirize the society we live in. Just don't start believing that you're a social commentator. You know, people say this country is divided now. But these people forget the 60s and the early 70s. There were daily marches, there were race riots, there were assassinations, there were anti-war demonstrations
the good old days.
We witnessed the most drastic cultural change in American history. But throughout it all, no matter what the state of the world, it seemed to get its sanity back every night at 11:30. Johnny was a constant in our lives, and every night he made us feel okay about it. And as good as Johnny was with the celebrities and the politicians, he was at his best with just ordinary folks. Because they didn't treat him as Johnny Carson, the king of late night. They treated him as Johnny Carson from Nebraska. You know, there's always a moment when he would ask him, you say to someone, do you ever watch my show? And the person would always say something like, no, I don't. I don't stay up late unless there's something worthwhile to do. Well, Johnny loved that. He would laugh and thought that was the greatest thing in the world. And as a performer, I don't think I ever wanted to impress anyone more than Johnny Carson. He had that effect on all comedians. When he gave you the wave, or that wink, or little call over to the desk, nothing before or since has had such a profound effect on me as that one little gesture is, hey, come on over here. You know, in the mid-'80s, I started working as a guest host for Johnny, and it's strange. And after all these years, I still feel like a guest.
Is this in real time, Jay?
Because he really built this place. Everyone who does this for a living owes it to him.
December 90.
Johnny was the best, plain and simple. And the best way to sum it up is, I guess, you know, you had to be there. If you were fortunate enough to be watching during Johnny's 30-year run, consider yourself lucky, because you're not going to see the likes of him ever again. Here's some favorite moments.
Oh. Yes, my favorite moments.
I love what he said about being a political commentator, and you're not like that with those two lessons.
Yeah.
The comedians fall into. He was absolutely right. Good point.
True. Some people get a little too serious when it comes to that.
Yeah. Like, you look at The Daily Show, and Jon Stewart's a great comic, and they're talking about him replacing Dan Rather.
I know.
Like, dude, you're not a real... And I'm not saying he wants that, but you're not a real news guy. You're a comedian.
Is he going to be able to pull his collar and go... on the news? I don't think so. Like, that's why I watch The Daily Show, is because it's funny, you know? You know, I don't think that's going to wash on the CBS News.
Yeah, they're doing a story about the tsunami.
Yeah. He's going to break into a Woody Allen voice. I don't think it's going to help.
They do that, and it tends to happen more with the left. I'm sorry, but liberal comics tend to fall into this trick with Garofalo and a lot of them. Like, they think that they're all of a sudden these brilliant political voices. It's like you can skewer politics and trash it, but you're not this enlightened genius. Your job is to make people laugh. If you're not doing it making people laugh, you're cheating and you're a fraud.
You know who's really good at it? Lewis Black.
Who?
Lewis.
Wait, no, I've heard
that name.
Don't tip
Look,
me off.
I'm pissed off at him too. But the fact is, I do find him funny.
Yes.
And I can't be phony. I find the guy funny. I also find him to be a prick because he hasn't even attempted to be on this program. He's actually shunning it.
You know who's brilliant at it? Is Colin. There's nobody better than Colin at being political and funny and biting and
absolutely
just vicious.
Yep.
And always being funny.
Yeah.
Always being funny.
Unless he's on our show.
Well, then, that was Opie, boss, not me.
You should have, something? You should have hung out after the show. For some reason, after the show, we hung out for about 45 minutes in here after the show, and we were laughing our asses off.
Well, roll tape next time.
I know.
Jesus, I mean,
did you ever hear?
It was like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
Well, he tells a story. I wish he would have done this, too. When he tells a story about bombing at De Niro's birthday party.
Oh, it's great.
Where he performed at Robert De Niro's birthday party, 50th or 60th.
Dude, you're invited to De Niro's birthday party by De Niro's wife?
Yeah, by Grace Hightower.
Yeah. And you show up, and for Colin, that had to be, dream come true.
Wouldn't accept money for it. Just to skewer De Niro a little bit and roast him. And
you're going to be in the company of De Niro's friends, Hollywood elite, and he bombed. And he tells it like where the flop sweat is drenching his nice suit that he's wearing.
Why didn't he tell that on the air Friday?
He kind of came in at like 9-something. Don't forget, we were in the middle of other things.
Yeah.
We were like, we got to get to this tape. We were getting the tapes, so he only had like...
We were in the middle of just bombing in general on Friday.
It was weird. It was like he came in, and we weren't able to sync up the rhythm with him until,
this whole show's about getting a rhythm.
Yeah, it happens.
Write that down for the next time Colin comes in. We got to hear the story of him bombing at De Niro's birthday party.
He describes himself sweating and just silence and some like cordial little titters coming from some people.
Can we get him on the phone?
It's embarrassing.
Is he up this early?
And Billy Crystal, who does not like Colin at all, because Colin always trashed him.
Yeah.
Sitting there smugly enjoying it.
Yeah, Billy Crystal, because Colin's trashed Billy Crystal, so Billy Crystal's watching him bomb, and in Colin's head, he's even thinking to himself, "Oh, Billy's watching me bomb." Just an awful time.
Well, every comedian can relate to that. I mean, I'm sure Billy Crystal's not looking at Colin Quinn bombing going, "Oh, this guy's absolutely awful." He's thinking, "Oh, my God,
comics
I know how that feels."
Sons of bitches and love the fact that another comic is bombing and it's not them.
Yep.
Comics love that.
Yeah. And if you're friends with somebody, if I'm at a birthday party and I'm watching Bob Kelly eat his balls, I'm rolling. I'm happy and I'm enjoying his death. But if it's a guy I genuinely don't like, I'm just sitting in the back, "Oh, die, you suck, die." It's like you're really rooting for them to bomb.
What is the Bob Kelly Jerry Seinfeld story? Is great too.
Bob has to tell it only because I don't know the beginning of the story. There was some kind of a bet made with Seinfeld, which I don't know.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's get Bob Kelly on the phone.
It's a very
Where's
funny
Bob?
story.
Let's get Bob on the phone.
Because this is the story of Bob Kelly with Seinfeld. It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Like everyone, you could kind of relate to it too, because everyone's done something like that where you're embarrassed. But when it's Jerry Seinfeld that you're embarrassed in front of like this, it's horrific.
All right, I know Bob Kelly listens to us on the replays. Call us tomorrow to tell your Seinfeld story. There you go. It's done. Get up early,
unless he
loser.
calls now or someone gets in touch.
Maybe he will. I don't know. So now we got Leno, and they dragged Ed McMahon out.
Johnny's sidekick for so many years. Who doesn't remember plump Ed McMahon chuckling along?
Another guy that Johnny Carson didn't feel like hanging out with.
Nah.
At all.
No.
The guy that he did the TV show with for 30 years.
Nothing.
They went to lunch every once in a while. Every once in a while.
Right now, I want to welcome the man who shared the Tonight Show stage with Johnny for 30 years, Mr. Ed McMahon, ladies and gentlemen.
A lot of hugs right here.
The Tonight Show, starring with special guest Tony Randall.
Oh, thank you. Standing ovation. I appreciate that, and I know Johnny somewhere is appreciating that.
Oh,
Well, it's great.
No, he's not. He's rotting.
He's
Yeah,
dead.
Johnny's annoyed going, what are you giving this stupid second banana a round of applause for? He did nothing but nod and laugh.
Standing ovation. Jesus.
How great was their chemistry, though, man, between him and McMahon? Like, Johnny would be doing Karnak, and Ed would just repeat what he had just said, and just the look he would give him, like, you fat asshole.
You shut up.
Oh, it was funny,
He was
man.
just a buffoon sitting there.
Go back to your announcer's mic and leave me alone.
And Rickles would just come on and skewer everybody.
Yeah.
It's the greatest.
Johnny somewhere is appreciating that.
Well, it's great to see you.
Nice
You know,
to
it
see
really
you.
is great to see you because I feel this.
It's so great to see you that I'm sorry I haven't had you on in the last 10 years.
I've been here 10 years, haven't had you on.
I love this Hollywood phoniness.
I was
really good to see you.
An oversight.
Sorry Johnny had to die for me to invite you onto the show, but it's great to see you.
Bit of an oversight. 10 years.
Yeah, it's so great to see you. Sure.
Jeez.
Great to see you because I feel this is like, I don't know, it's very emotional to see you now, and I'm glad you could take the time to come here. and do this.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you. And I had quite a day yesterday. You can imagine. Jeff Sotzik called me at 7 a.m. and I had one of those days, crying, laughing all day long. And I just saw. By the way, your essay was that marvelous. That essay he did.
He called it an essay?
An essay.
Yeah.
An essay.
It was awful.
Wasn't that great, that Vato he did?
It was absolutely awful.
It was horrible.
That essay he did.
It's all true.
That book report.
But the clips, you know, and I was there, but I see him again, I'd laugh all over again. And I've got hope for you. You know, Johnny would always add some lightness, so I have a little lightness for you. My son, Jeff, you just met him. He's with me. Driving over, he told me, he's got a little 5-year-old, my granddaughter, Sarah McMahon, right? Sarah Michael McMahon. So she's watching some of these clips, and she said, she turns, she says, Granddaddy lost his best friend. And I said, that's right. She says, well, who in the world's going to replace him?
Oh, yeah.
And that's something, because she thinks the show is still
That's
on.
the story?
And he's gone.
Shut up.
So there's a chance you could come in.
No wonder you haven't been invited on the show in the last 10 years. That's all you got?
Oh,
You worked with the guy for 30 years and that's all you got?
Granddaddy lost his best friend. Oh, shut up.
Who's going to replace him? So I was hoping for some kind of punchline.
Yeah.
So I hit her and said, shut up, stupid. Or I sang a tsunami parody at her. Who's that? That's the type of question Voss would ask. You lost your best friend. Who's going to replace him?
Who's going to replace him?
Hey, guys, let's say hi to Bob Kelly. Bob.
Bobby.
Bob.
What's up? What's up?
Hi, fella.
How you doing, man?
Can you hear us?
Hello?
Hello.
Bob, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear. You guys fucking with me with that whole thing?
No, we're actually not.
We're not. We're actually
The
having
phones
a
have had
problem
problems
with
all
the
day.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Colin was in the other day, and he was telling us a story about you and Seinfeld. And it was a little embarrassing.
Yeah, that friggin' son of a bitch Seinfeld douchebag.
Would you like to tell us the story?
Yeah, I feel like I'm on the Tonight Show right now. Hey, Johnny. Norton's Ed.
I don't want to be Ed. I want to be Doc.
Take one up the keister.
Is he gay?
He always seemed a little flamboyant.
Oh.
Seemed a little Noah-like.
Remember when he was filming Comedian?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Seinfeld.
Well, he was... That son of a bitch was coming down with this little camera crew, and I never talked to him. I never said nothing to him. I never say nothing to famous people when they come down there. And there's certain comedians...
You're talking about the Comedy Cellar, by the way, where most of that movie Comedian was filmed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Where all the big-time New York comics hang out when they're not on the road.
Right.
All right, there you go. Sorry.
Thanks. So, this son of a bitch comes down. I never say nothing to him. I just, some comedians kiss their asses,
Yeah.
Especially if he was filming, so there were certain comedians, Godfrey, that would just, sticking their faces in. And I never said nothing to him. One night he says something to me. I say something back. I feel like we build up a rapport.
Rapport?
You know what I mean? Like it was
What did he say?
organic.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
What's the code? Because there's a door code to get down.
Is this seat taken?
Well, you know, it was kind of like a little conversation we had.
Yeah.
So the next
what was
day,
it? What was it about, Bob? Was it something like?
All right, so it wasn't that much of a conversation, but it was enough for me to maybe say hi to him again.
Yeah.
You know
Did he ask?
He said.
Did he ask why you were looking at that midget and crying?
Is that the first time he's done it? All right, where's that midget audio?
I'll never live that down.
No, you won't.
And you wonder why I fuck sinks. So I went and I did this gig up in Buffalo 2 days later.
Mm-hmm.
The worst gig of my life. I have to hire my own driver to pick me up to drive me to the gig.
Oof.
This guy picks me up in a van, one of those, cool vans with the captain seats and the TV and the, VCR. And
Nice.
so he's got every Seinfeld episode ever. And he's got headphones on. And he's not watching and he's listening to them.
Jesus.
This guy's a Seinfeld freak. So we're driving to the gig. He's telling me about Seinfeld. He finds out I'm a comedian. He starts calling me Jerry.
Oh, gee.
Oof.
I took him out we went to lunch. Because we had like an hour to kill.
Yeah.
So the whole time he's telling me about, his family, and he's like, Jerry, and I'm like, Bob. He's like, oh, I know, but I just really like Jerry, so I'm like, okay, call me Jerry.
Oh, my God, that's weird.
Did he ask you to listen to an audio cassette of his stand-up and put you on his show?
Jerry? Jerry?
So,
Ma!
nice talking to you. So, this guy asked me for an autograph, but, I was like, you know what, I might be able to get you one. Because I just talked to him the other night for the first time, me and my new buddy.
Yeah.
So then I go to do this gig. It's outside, after a band, in the rain, in the afternoon, next to a skydiving simulator, at a beer fest.
So how was the gig?
It was all right. It wasn't that bad. I pulled it off.
You pulled it off.
This gig was hell. So I go back to New York. I met this guy. I lived the Seinfeld episode.
Yeah.
This guy, the whole gig with the thing and the flight simulator. I can't wait to see Jerry and tell him the gig, tell him about the gig. So the first time we talked, we made a bet. I was making bets, and he jumped in on the bet. So I owed him $1 because he won the bet. That's why that was our conversation.
Oh, okay.
So he's on stage.
You remember what the bet was?
Yeah, it was if Gretzky was on the team that when the Rangers won the Stanley Cup, and no, he wasn't.
All right.
And so he walks off stage, and I got my dollar out, and there's like a crowd of people going nuts. He walks by me at the foot of the stairs in the cellar, and I go, "Here's your $1. You won the bet." And he looks at me with like almost take that, he could smell dog shit, but he doesn't know where it is. Look.
Yeah.
And he took the $1, which kind of annoyed me that he took the $1.
Of course.
He didn't say, nah, it's all right, don't worry about it. He took it.
Yeah.
I go, but I got a story for you first. He goes, you want your $1 back? So in my head, I'm like, what a fucking dick. Then he walks up 2 stairs, and he turns around, and he goes, I'll be upstairs in the back corner eating. So when you're done, come up, and we'll talk upstairs. So I go, all right, man, I'll be up. I'm doing my set. Right after my set, I'll come up. We'll sit. We'll talk. He goes, not you. He was talking to the lady next to me. I was so... You understand, there's a crowd of people there. The lady next to me looked at me like, I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
And then he just walked up the stairs.
How embarrassing. Oh, for that split second, you're like, oh, my God, Jerry's inviting me up to his table. I'm going to hang. And then, not you.
Just the fact that I assumed that he would invite me from 2 sentences to sitting down and having food with the guy.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I'll be right. I said it so confident, too. I was like, dude, I got to do my set, but right when I'm done with my set,
right.
I'll be up and I'll join you. And
Yeah,
we'll talk about stories.
I got to do my craft.
not you, in that Jew voice, that his just big fat lips, just not you.
That's a good story,
that
man.
rings through my head. Anytime
of course it
someone
does.
says not you, it rings through my head.
You know how embarrassing it is when you're walking down the street and someone waves and goes, "Hey," and you wave back, and then you realize it's somebody behind you that they're waving at, and you're all embarrassed.
It's
got to be that times 1,000. It's Jerry Seinfeld, and you're in front of people, and that is the worst. That when Colin told me that, I couldn't stop laughing and feeling bad for you. I cried like you at a midget wedding.
Dude, let me tell you something. In my head, in a split second, I literally saw myself being on his new show. I'm the new Kramer, and I was just a superstar.
For a split second, like
Norton, Colin, just blowing him off.
Jerry's inviting me to his table. This is great. All right, I'll be up right after I do my set.
I finally made it.
Like Jerry will tell people about Bob, like, oh, you got to sit and talk to this guy. He's out of his mind. He's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Bob, they've offered me a show, and I need help. I need a writer. Just like Larry was on Seinfeld, I'd like you to be on this new project I'm working on.
Yeah, we need a professional person who knows about eating ass and all those.
And effing sinks and.
Maybe you could be the tear Nazi.
The tear Nazi.
People come in with a sad story, you just cry, and they walk out of your establishment.
God forbid I show emotion to a little girl who can't touch her face.
Little girl? She was a woman. Just happened to be 2 foot tall.
We finally got the audio of that. We're going to play after the break, by the way. Finally. We've been looking for that audio for weeks. All right, Bob, we're going to let you go. We might call you back because I think we're going to play the midget audio as well today.
All right, guys. I love all of you guys.
You're the best, Bob.
Not you.
Well.
See you, man.
Bye.
All right, there goes Bob Kelly.
Oh, how awful.
Is that just an embarrassing story?
That's great.
Like he's looking up the stairs at Jerry, looking down at you. He says, when you're done, come on up. We'll eat and talk. And for that split, because as a comic, he's standing there going, this is great. Oh, my God, what an in. If you're going to network with a comedian, Seinfeld's the guy that you want to network with. The guy, took stand-up comedy and turned it into what every stand-up comic wants, the most successful sitcom in history, And there he is, ready to go. All the fantasies rushing through Bob's head. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to tell the friends he's going to tell. He's thinking about the friends he's going to tell that he hung out with Jerry, and he invited him up to his table.
And the comedians that will see him walking in.
Right.
Like, we're all walking in, and there's Bob at Seinfeld's table, chatting, having some fun.
Away. Jerry throwing his head back, laughing at Bob's banter.
Bob going, dude, I just can't do it. I can't give you 6 weeks, Jerry.
I can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. And then in that split second, not you.
Because the Comedy Cellar, when you walk out of the showroom, you can make a right to leave, or the steps up to the left will take you up to the olive tree, and it's very cramped.
Yeah.
And everybody, if Seinfeld was speaking, everybody's silently listening.
Of course.
Everyone heard it.
What a wonderfully horrible story.
Oh, dude, it's just awful.
That is irreprehensible.
All right, Anthony, getting back to the Jay Leno stuff, we got another clip of McMahon on Leno last night talking about Johnny Carson, trying to get back on track here. And then you were talking about a couple urban legends as far as the Johnny Carson show goes. And we got one of the audio clips, and then there was something else you wanted to bring up. And then we'll move on to the midget audio.
A couple of urban legends.
But here's McMahon discussing with Jay Johnny's privacy.
Johnny was a very complex guy. I mean, I don't pretend to know him. I've been to dinner and I've been to his house, but it was. I mean, explain a little bit, because he seemed incredibly
not you.
Shy.
Yeah, he was. Totally shy. He was great with 10 million people, lousy with 10. The worst thing in the world. And I did something
like
to
Opie.
him. We had a show called Bloopers and Practical Jokes.
What? Because he was great with 10 million people, lousy with 10.
Well,
like your parties.
But I try.
Yeah, you have no chips.
Right. And I got rid of the mouse, so I think people will start hanging out again.
Me and Ed in a Java-log.
Ed, call the fire department.
All right, it's not that funny. Relax. Oh, relax.
There's a mouse in my house, and I was chasing him with a piece of cheese trying to get him out. And, yes, Ed was over. We lit a Java log, and it started smoking in the whole house. Smoking. It looked like Doc in a band meeting. You know, because they smoke pot, and I always joke about it. Yeah. Well, the fire department showed up. It was like the mighty Carson art players walking in, and there I was in Ed's arms, nude. And the doctors later told me that gave me emphysema. A Java log in flames. Emphysema. Great with 10 million, horrible with 10. What's wrong with two men nude, a Java log, and some wine?
There was no nudity. All right, well, get back to the clip.
Johnny was a very complex guy. I mean, I don't pretend to know him. I've been to dinner and I've been to his house, but it was. I mean, explain a little bit, because he seemed incredibly shy.
Yeah, he was. Totally shy. You know, he was great with 10 million people, lousy with 10. You know, the worst thing in the world. And I did something to him. We had a show called Bloopers and Practical Jokes. You may remember with Dick Clark. And he produced it. His company produced it. So he caught me leaving the gate here with stuff loaded in the backseat of my car, my limousine, and I thought I was going to be arrested. You know, with all this stuff in the... I thought my driver had done something wrong. He caught me, nailed me, all right? So I figured I'm going to get back at him. He went to Wimbledon, and we set up a thing in Wimbledon. We made him go to a cocktail party. Brandon Tartikoff says, you got to go to this party. Got him to the party, and all these actors, beautiful British actors, were doing this gibberish. They were talking gibberish, and he was there, and he hated every minute of it. And the guy would say, "Oh, Mr. Carson, you're from for the continent. Oh, I was wondering, have you ever been to London before? Because I know this one, and then I knew, but then..." And they're doing all this gibberish, and Johnny is there, and you can see the sweat starting from the eyebrows, you know, going down. And he's going, you know, that's so nice. And he's looking for some place to hide, right? He almost killed me. He was so mad when he got the mail.
And Ed wonders why Johnny never wanted to hang out with him.
Doesn't invite him over.
What a hack.
Yeah, thank you.
Practical jokes on Johnny, the guy that just wants privacy. Doesn't want anyone screwing with him. Goes to a restaurant and Ed's playing jokes on him. Ugh. Fat nothing.
Ugh.
What a prick. Just trying to eat. Has fake English people coming over to him. Yeah, no wonder he never invited him over.
All right. A couple of urban legends, Anthony?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I was reading some of the message boards, and some people actually post this stuff as true. And I bet people that are listening now will actually go, no, I remember seeing that. There's two urban legends concerning The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. One of them is that Zsa Zsa Gabor was on the show as a guest, and she had a cat with her, and the cat was on her lap, and she said, "Would you like to pet my pussy?"
I thought that was Raquel Welch.
See? The story gets all confused because it's an urban legend. And she said, "Would you like to pet my pussy?" And Johnny said, "Yeah, as soon as you move that damn cat."
That never happened?
No, never happened. First of all, back then, it wouldn't have made it through the censors. They would go nuts for something like that.
Well, did it not happen? Did it happen and then all of a sudden just get cut out of the show?
Nope, never, ever happened. And there's actually a clip of Jane Fonda on an appearance on the show, and she brought it up to Johnny, and Johnny dispels the whole thing. If we could.
Well, you know, I've been bitching about this CD player for weeks. Hold on.
Oh, look what's here.
All right, here's the clip, Anthony.
That's good news.
Here's the clip.
All right.
I got to ask you something. Sure. Last night, my son, you were talking about Zsa Zsa Gabor earlier.
Yeah, everybody's talking about it.
My son said, she was on Johnny Carson show one time. She came there with a cat on her lap. And she said to you, "Do you want to pet my pussy?" And my son said that you said, I'd love to if you'd remove that damn cat. Is it true?
No, I think I would recall that.
Oh, that's a huge laugh. That's great.
Yeah.
Can you believe that got through? How
I
great
know.
is The Tonight Show? Good.
Yeah. Yeah. The Tonight Show is always great to tune into because you would see stuff like that. And that kind of stuff was never happening on regular TV, like during the day, during prime time. They would allot them a lot more latitude for doing material that was a little more risque.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those Mighty Carson art player bits that he used to do had some double entendre and stuff thrown in. And the girl with the big blonde with the huge cans, and Johnny's constantly looking right down her shirt and making tit jokes. You know, what amounted to tit jokes on television.
But what if kids see that, though? That's my concern.
Yeah,
you know,
mine
you worry
too.
about children seeing that.
Mine too.
So that never happened?
Never happened. Urban legend. The other one is that Arnold Palmer's wife was on the show, which is suspect right there. It's like, why is Arnold Palmer's wife on the show? And Johnny asked if they have any good luck rituals. And she said that, I kiss Arnold's balls before he plays, meaning his golf balls. And Johnny said that must put a flutter in his putter. And that never happened. Never happened.
Hope not. That's awful.
And I know. Isn't that just horrible? And when I read it on a message board, I'm like, that is so not true. You know, some of these things, if you hear them or read them and you just know they're fake, you wonder how anybody thinks these things are real. And some guy posted it on a message board as one of my favorite memories from The Tonight Show was when Arnold Palmer's wife was on, and then tells the whole story.
Ugh.
And he actually has it as a memory in his head. And he's one of those people you cannot convince that never happened, because they actually believe it. He's said it so many times that he actually thinks he heard it. Yep.
We have audio?
What do you go? No, unfortunately, we don't have audio of that. Well, it never happened. So.
No, I mean of him dispelling it.
Actually, it was dispelled on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Jay had Arnold Palmer on.
Oh, okay.
And he asked Arnold Palmer about it, and Arnold Palmer said, no, it never happened. And he goes, please don't ask me any more about it. Because I guess, having for years to hear about his wife kissing his balls,
he said
must upset Arnie.
He said to Jay or to the audience? Like to America?
Said to Jay, all right, don't ask me about it anymore.
What a baby.
Well, he doesn't, he's probably one of those older conservative guys who's, his wife kissing his balls to everybody. That being the running joke about your wife. Hey, Arnie, your wife going to kiss your balls today? You hear it so many times, you're probably like, enough.
You want to try one more clip, Johnny Carson?
Did you hear a noise?
Yeah, because they plugged some stuff in. They
hooked some stuff up.
Hold on, Ed. Go ahead.
It's over, Johnny.
There you go.
They found our instant replays.
Cold.
It's over, Johnny.
They just came off a truck. They were sent to Washington, but ended in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And then back to Washington, now back in New York.
I have no templates, though.
Oh, so you have no idea what you're playing?
Watch.
Get on your hands and knees like a dog. That's it! Crawl around like a dog!
It's just it's a mystery. It's a sound effect grab bag. What, you too?
Yeah, let me try one.
Give it a whirl. Nothing. You get nothing.
Let me try again.
Oh, good one.
Thank you, Anthony.
How about this one?
You're just a tool.
Oh, all right.
Oh, yeah, well, how about...
You got a lot of laughs.
I don't care. I don't care. I honestly don't care. Don't care.
All right. Well, why don't we go to break, Anthony?
You will keep your hands off of my mule.
So we could get the instant replays all set up.
Right. We
got the midget audio finally of the little midget girl getting married.
Ooh.
We also have this great website called Rent a Midget that is very funny. I don't know if it's real, though. We should try to get the guy that is running this website on the air to talk about it.
This guy from Whackbag is saying, Anthony, in that clip, Carson was being sarcastic when he said, I think I would remember that, tool. No, he's not. He's saying that it never happened.
Find the clip.
What an idiot.
They got just about every Tonight Show on tape, right?
That is not